What is going on, dreamers? My name is Acer, and in this video I'm going to be teaching you what the freak an exclusive gate is. And in short, it's basically a node, but better. So in this first demo, I am showing you just how it compares to a node. And the way you can look at an exclusive gate is basically you pass a signal through it, and you can the whole point of the exclusive gate is to basically control whether or not this signal gets through. And same sort of idea with a node. You pass a signal through it. So you see the signal's passing right through when I turn this switch on and off. Signal's passing right through. You'll notice that if the gate is open, and you'll know what that means shortly, but if the gate is open, so if the signal is going through it, you'll get this little opened gate picture. When the gate is closed, meaning it does not allow any signals through it, you'll get a closed gate picture. So an exclusive gate is similar to a node in that it allows signals to pass through it. We have the input and output. Similar to a node, input and output. Let's move on. So let's go into this. Ignore everything right now. You don't need to worry about it. All you need to worry about right now is this input and this output. Similar to a node. That's not a node, my bad. Similar to a node. Input, output. So, what does automatic mean? Well, if you go right here, this is when you first place it down, this is the mode it starts in. And right here, automatic. So what does that even mean? Well, before I talk about what that means, let me also tell you why exclusive gates are different than nodes. And in short, the difference is that with exclusive gates, if there are two or more exclusive gates with the same name, test 2, for example, only one in the entire scene will allow a signal through it. So notice how both switches are on, but only one cube is on. This gate is closed. This gate is open. Because they're named the same. Only one can be open at a time, no matter what. No matter what. So what does automatic mean? Well, automatic, I'm just going to read this. So in this mode, if the input signal is turned off, the gate will close instantly. Okay? And when the gate is closing, that means a different gate with the same name can open. So again, in this mode, if the input signal is turned off, this gate is open, the input signal is on. When I say off and on, 0 is off. Anything greater than 0 is on. I'm pretty sure. So, well, let's test that right now. Let's put both of them to 0.1. Now, I just recently learned this. You can actually change what the on value and the off value is, which is kind of cool. So you can see that the cube is actually on. It's just very dim. So yes, 0 is off. A value of 0 is off, and a value of anything greater than 0 represents on. So when I say off and on, that's what I mean. Okay. Anyway, in this mode, if the input signal is turned off, so I'm going to do it. This gate is on, because there's an input signal through it. I'm going to turn the input signal off. The gate closes. The gate closes. This gate is also closed. There's no rule about a gate having to be open. But if a gate is open, no other gates can be open. So both gates are closed. Again, so the input signal turned to 0, the gate automatically closed. So now it lets this one turn on. Let's say this is open. If I put this on right now, nothing will happen because this one is open. But the second I turn this off, this gate will close, and this gate will open because there's an input signal going through and because it's on automatic. So ready? Bam. This gate automatically opens because I shouldn't say that. This gate opens because this gate automatically closes. So let's finish it. To close the gate, you can also power it off. So when I say power off, I mean literally turn the power off. So ready? This is on, but the gate isn't open. I'm going to just power this off. So even though you have the picture, and this is a glitch, you guys should fix this, Media Molecule. Even though you have the picture of an open gate, because it's off, this gate now opens. Because no other gate with this name is on. Is open, rather, not on, sorry. This gate it looks open, but it's not. So if I turn this back on, this one turns back open. It's an interesting thing, but because it was on, because this gate was on when I turned it off, turning this back on, even though I don't touch this side, turning this back on will make this one open again. But this is kind of, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I'm just trying to explain why that happened. So to close the gate, you can also power it off. This will close the gate regardless of what the input value is. So but you've already seen that. So just to recap, when in automatic mode, if the input signal goes to 0, the gate automatically closes. And another gate is allowed to open if it's receiving an input. If it's not, look, this closed, this didn't open because there's no input. Now it's open. Okay. Let's move on. I think you guys hopefully have a good grasp of what automatic mode does. Now we're going on to manual. So you're probably like, why do you have a signal manipulator? Or maybe, what is a signal manipulator? But the reason I have a signal manipulator is because, again, the graphic, when it's powered off, the graphic doesn't change, but the signal manipulator does change. So, see? So even though the graphic's on, or the graphic's open, it's a graphic of an open gate, the signal manipulator's graphic is correct. So, manual. Manual. What the heck is manual? Well, in manual mode, the gate that is open does not automatically close when the input signal goes to 0. So, let's demo this. We're going to have both of these closed gates are open right now. Are off right now. Input signal is 1. It's powered on. Input signal is 1. It's powered on. Close. We're not trying to actively close the gate right now. And by the way, to close the gate is right here. So in manual mode, you have to manually close the gate using this input. But let's see what happens. So in automatic, when I had turned this off, this gate would automatically close and this gate would open. Now it doesn't. I have to manually close the gate like that for this one to open. Okay? So let's do it again. Probably, I mean, you can actually leave this on, but let's turn it off. I'm going to turn this input signal back on. Stays off. I'm going to manually close the gate. And then this one opens. Now, wait, I wonder. Yeah, okay, I didn't think so. So, one thing that's kind of weird, and let's go over it. Like, there's a ton of different like edge cases with this, and this is the first. And when I say edge cases, I mean just like something happens that maybe you don't think should have happened. So you saw me just close the gate. You saw me just press close gate with the input signal on, and the gate closed, and this one opened. But look what happens now. The gate isn't closing unless the input signal's off. So watch. But what about this one? Same setup, but reversed. So this gate is open, input signal's on, I'm gonna press close gate. And it actually switches to this one. You're probably thinking, why is that happening? Well, I am too, actually. No, I'm kidding. Kind of. I'm kind of kidding. It's a weird interaction, but basically, you just need to follow this rule of if you're in manual mode, you need to turn the input signal off before closing the gate. If you don't, there will be interesting and weird behavior. So again, you need to turn, you don't need to, but you should really should turn the input signal off, then close the gate. This gate will open. Let's see what happens when we close this gate, but this gate doesn't have an input signal. Just what you'd expect, I hope. I would hope you'd expect that. So the gate closes. This one doesn't open. So now, any gate can open right now. Even if closed gate is on, this one can just open up. Closed gate should generally be a pulse. You should really put a pulse. So a pulse means it's on for one frame. And a good way to generate a pulse is through this signal manipulator. But regardless, you really should be putting a pulse into closed gate because having closed gate on doesn't really do anything. So one more time, we're going to turn the input signal off and close gate. And this is for manual mode. I should have showed this sooner. I don't think I did. This is for manual mode. So now I'm going to read it. Now we should have a good idea of what manual mode is. In this mode, a gate will only close when a close... That's a typo. When a close... Oh, no, it's not. Wow, I am so bad. All right. Let me try that again. In this mode, a gate will only close when a close signal is received. A close signal being a pulse into this is what I'm referring to. While the input signal is off, you have to send a close signal when the input signal's off, or you'll get really weird behavior. Turning the input signal off by itself will most likely do nothing. Sometimes it does something, but just don't do it. Powering the active gate off will also close it. So let's demo that now. Let's say we don't want to turn the input signal off, but we want the gate to close. Just turn it off. Now this one will turn on if it was receiving a signal. Let's turn this one back on. And again, how that works. I've already explained why that happened. But so watch. Let's turn that off, close the gate. Now this gate is open. Let's turn this back on, turn this off. When I power it off, this gate will immediately turn on, even though it's in manual mode, and even though I don't use closed gate. See? So powering it off also works. Again, just keep in mind, the second you power it back on, well, maybe not. Again, with the undefined behavior, it gets a little weird. So, let me show you. Okay. When I'm powering this one off, this one turns on. When I power this one back on, this gate doesn't open. This gate doesn't receive a signal. Now let's do it. Now let's do this one, right? So I'm going to power this one off. This one opens. This one looks like it's open. Now when I power this back on, this gate is the one open. So again, it's like undefined behavior kind of thing. You just got to really be careful. So yeah, that's probably really confusing, but with manual mode, just try to stick with turning the input signal off, closing the gate. The reason that happens is it has something to do with like the priority, and since they're both 10 priority, it randomly chooses one of them to have priority over the other. That's why that happens. So this one is just happened to be a lower priority than this one, even though both priorities are 10. I know I haven't gone over priority yet, but it's the game randomly chooses one to take precedence over the other. But anyway, so to recap, manual mode. Gates on. Input signal does not affect the open or closedness of the gate. To close the gate, you turn input signal off and do close gate. Alternatively, you can just power it off. All right. Let's continue. Queue mode. Queue. Very fun. Okay. So, queue. This is going to be the third reset mode, I guess they're called. This is going to be the third mode. Okay? And if you know what the word queue means, you might have a good idea of like how this works. So, we haven't learned about priority yet. Priority is in this next lesson, but let's just put all the priorities to to 5 rather. I'm multiplying it by 10 when it comes in, so it's 5. Priority of 5 for each one. Priority of 5. Okay, queue. Basically, it's manual mode. Okay, basically it's manual mode, but if all the gates, which are named the same, are in priority mode, named the same, have the same, I'm sorry, I said priority mode, I meant queue mode, are in queue mode, are named the same thing. If they all have the same priority, closing, oh, this one, hold on. Okay, there. Okay. Closing the active one will open one that hasn't been opened yet until all of the gates have been opened at least once. So it like cycles through all the available gates. So watch. I'm going to close this one. Okay. Now we're on this one. I'm going to close this one. Now this one opens. So even though this one had a signal, this one was ready to open, this one wanted to open, but it didn't because it's in priority queue. Oh my God, I did it again. Because it's in queue mode. It's in queue mode. This one didn't open because this one hadn't opened yet. This one needs to open first before this one can open again. So let's close this one. And we're back to the start. We've looped all the way around. Just to show you, I'm going to do it one more time. So it's everyone has opened once. Now we restart the loop. So input signal off. Just like manual mode, you got to turn the input signal off first. Close gate. Now it's this one. And it keeps the same order, by the way. Oops. Oh, yeah. Now it's on this one. Now it's back to this one. You're probably thinking, Acer, why wouldn't that work with manual mode? Well, watch what happens. I'm going to turn all of them to manual mode. They're all on manual mode now. Okay, see? Watch what happens. Goes to this one. Okay, same exact thing as Q. But watch what happens when I close this one. This one opens back up again. Completely ignores this one because it's not in queue mode. Admittedly, I haven't tested this in automatic, but I have a feeling the same thing's going to happen. I'm just proving to you guys that they're all in automatic mode. All right, let's see what happens. So in automatic, remember, we don't even need the touch close gate. Automatically closes. And just like we assumed, just like we thought, goes right back to this one. So, queue mode. Very, very useful for looping over a group of objects, as long as each one has the exclusive gate in it. So let's read it. In this mode, each gate will have a turn being active before the first gate is active again. This allows us to loop over a group of objects. All priorities must be the same and all gates must be sent to queue. Okay? And I'm sure you assume this, but to close the gate, you can actually turn it off as well. Now, admittedly, that would work the same way in manual mode if you turn them off in order. But what if we do this? I'm not sure what will happen. So let's flicker it off. Okay, so we get back to the hidden priority kind of thing. So watch. Okay, so well, now this one's on. It will go to this one next. It will. Well, let me just show you. See? Okay, but let's try powering it off and then back on and see what happens. This gate closes, it goes to this one. Okay, so again, you can power it off to make the gate go, but when we do it with this one, it goes to this one as expected, but when we power this one back on, it goes right back to this one. So again, powering it off is a very unpredictable way to do it, but it will work, kind of. You just have to, you just have to know like what's going on. So again, I would highly recommend not using the power off method. You should close the gate properly by taking the input signal off, closing the gate, and then you can put the input signal back on if you want. Okay, so that is Q. That is Q. It loops through objects as long as all the priorities are the same. Priority is set right here, by the way. Awesome. So we just went over automatic, manual, and Q. Those are the three modes. Those are the three reset modes of exclusive gates. Now for the interesting stuff. Priority. So we've touched on it, but not completely. What happens if the priority isn't the same? It's pretty interesting, actually. It's pretty interesting. The active gate with the high... Active gate? No, okay, sorry. When I say active gate, the gate with the highest priority will be open. So as long as it's receiving an input, the highest priority will be open. So watch what happens. Because this is high priority, watch what happens when we turn this signal on. Automatically goes to this. Now, that's possibly due to the fact that we're in automatic mode. Let's see what happens if we're in manual mode. Look at that. This gate closes, and this gate... And I knew that would happen, by the way. This gate closes, and this gate opens, even though we're in manual mode. Even though we're in manual mode. Because the priority is higher, it automatically changes. I'm not really sure if it should work that way, to be completely honest. Because if you're in manual mode, shouldn't you have to close the gate first? But you don't. So because because this is a higher priority and it was receiving an input, even though this one is receiving an input and the gate wasn't being closed, this gate still closes and this gate opens, even though we're in manual mode, just from the priority. So watch. I'm going to go below 0.6. That one automatically opens. So you can really take advantage of priority if you want these gates to like activate in a certain order. So for example, if you want it to go this one, then this one every single time, just do this one, then power it off, then this one will open. So instead of powering it off, think of it, maybe you could just destroy it. So bam, this one will open. For example, in my intelligent follower, that's what I use. But I'll show a demo of like this in action. I'll show multiple actually. But again, so priority. The highest priority of the gate. Oh, when I said active, I probably meant like powered on. If it's powered on, it will open. Now I'm curious. It also needs to have an input signal, I'm pretty sure. So yes, it needs to be having an input signal. If it doesn't have an input signal, then it's not going to automatically turn on. But if both of them have an input signal, the highest priority will automatically turn on and it'll be open. And of course, this one has a lower priority, but let's see what happens if we do that. and then close it. See? And when I turn this back on, because this has a higher priority, this one automatically shuts. Let's put it back into automatic mode. Okay, so if I shut this, if I turn this off, it automatically closes and this one opens, even though this has a higher priority than this. Because it's in automatic mode, the gate automatically closes. Manual mode. So I'm going to turn this input off. This gate is open. I'm turning this input off. It doesn't automatically change, okay? It doesn't automatically change because it's in manual mode. It was automatically changing before because this priority became higher, okay? So if the priority changes, it will automatically change. If the priority doesn't change, if this has a higher priority, you can turn this off, you can turn the input signal off, you can close the gate, then it'll change. But just turning the input signal off will not automatically close the gate unless you're in automatic mode. And Q mode has it's exactly the same as manual. It works exactly the same as manual. We already know what Q mode does. But so that's the basics of priority. All right? The active gate with the highest priority will be open. All right, now to interrupt. Now it's getting interesting. So, interrupt. Well, first, let's see where it is in the menu. Right here. And you can actually see it working. But it will only, first thing you need to know is that it'll only work when Q mode is on, okay? It only works in Q mode. All right? When enabled, if the gates are set to Q and a signal is received. So, basically how this works is when on, the gate will automatically open as long as there is an input signal. If there is not an input signal, it will be the next gate to open. So it actually works similar to priority. So imagine like, okay, watch. Remember what happened when we slid the priority up? See? It just automatically became this one. Watch what happens when we turn interrupt on. Automatically changes to this one. Automatically changes to that one. So interrupt basically like activates that gate as long as the priorities are the same. Now this is where it gets kind of weird. So watch what happens when I hover this. This allows this gate to interrupt the priority. It allows this gate to interrupt the priority. So you're thinking, well, let's see what happens when this is priority 7. Well, hold on. This is priority 8. This is priority 7. This is priority 6. So you'd think that turning this interrupt on would make it work. Well, let's see what happens when I power this off. It doesn't work. It completely. So even though this is powered off, this had the interrupt on, but because the priority was higher, this still activated. So, well, the lesson from that is interrupt only works, it only does anything if the priorities are all the same. Oh, okay, so here's another case. If two things both have interrupt on, nothing happens until this turns off. Now this one is the one to turn on. So interrupt basically... Oh, I was like, why didn't that work? It's because this has no input signal. So the second that this receives an input signal, this will immediately turn on. See? So they all have input signals. So interrupt basically... Come on, why didn't that work? Okay, this one didn't work because two input signals, it does nothing. All right, so as I was saying though, input basically, as interrupt rather, basically as long as they all have the same priority, Interrupt will make that gate the current one. Will make that gate the open one. Okay? That's what interrupt does, and it only works on queues when they're queues. And so again, to recap, when on, the gate will automatically be open as long as there is an input signal. If there is not an input signal, it will be the next gate to open. This does not override priority. It only works when the priorities are the same. All right, the final one, gate sync. Gate sync. So what the heck is gate sync? Let me just, well, first let me show you where it is. It's right here, gate sync. Use this input to cue the gate until a signal is received from a timeline or an instrument, for example. That's kind of confusing. It doesn't really make sense. So let me explain it better. But one thing you should know is that gate sync is normally always on. It's always on by default. So that may give you a hint of like what the deal is. So when gate sync is off, this is in queue mode, right? This gate sync's on. Input signal is, let's put this input signal on. So it's in queue mode. I'm going to turn this input signal off. Keep in mind, this gate sync is off, but this input signal is on. The gate is on. Okay, so normally, if the gate sync was on, me closing this would open this gate, but it doesn't because gate sync is off. Gate sync prevents the opening of this gate unless gate sync is turned on. We turn it back off. It stays open. It stays open. We can't close it. We can't do anything. This gate stays open until we turn gate sync back on. Then it's allowed to change again. So basically, it's like a power button almost. When on, the gate acts normally, completely normally, because all gate sync is on through all of this. When off, the state of the gate, so whether it's open or closed, stays the same. It's saved and cannot change unless gate sync is powered back on or this gate's open, turn gate sync off. Can't change, right? Well, what if we turn this priority up? It does change. So you can break out of gate sync with priority. Let's see if you can do it with interrupt. I don't actually know, so we'll see. Oh, and it has to be in queue mode, by the way. I think. No, it doesn't have to be in queue mode. All right, it does not have to be in queue mode. That's my bad. Doesn't have to be in queue mode. It can be in any mode, any reset mode. So this gate is on. We have gate sync off. So again, the gate can't close through normal means. What happens if we interrupt? Let's input signal. Okay, so the priorities even. No, let's keep the priority the same. So okay, let's see what happens when we interrupt. I don't know, to be honest, but I think it'll work. Yeah. So it's similar to priority. If we interrupt, it pulls it out of the gate sync. But any other way, not including literally just powering the gadget off, but like any other normal way doesn't actually work. So, for example, let's put them both in automatic mode. So this gate is on, gate sync is on. We're going to turn gate sync off. Now, normally, let's keep this gate sync on. So normally, if gate sync was on, and just normally, since it's in automatic mode, turning this input signal off would close this gate and open this one. But gate sync's off. So this gate won't change until gate sync is turned back on. This one automatically opens. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of gate sync. Now you're probably sitting here like, all right, so now I understand, semi-understand what all this stuff means. How would I use it? Well, The main thing, and ironically, I'm not actually going to demo this, but the main use for this, from what I've seen, is a targeting system. So let's say you have 3 enemies. Let's say you have 3 enemies, and you want to target one at a time, but you want to be able to cycle through your targets. Well, we can just, wait, didn't I? Okay, we can just close the gate. Close the gate. Close the gate. Notice how it cycles through. And I know we've been over this, but pretend these are enemies. And pretend instead of glowing, there's a little target indicator. And also, the camera is forced to point at it. So, pretty easily, you have a cyclable targeting system. Doesn't just target the closest one. You can cycle through different enemies. That's the main one. There's a ton of other uses. I'm going to show you 2. I'm going to show you 2 right now. So here's my first example, my real-world example of the exclusive gate. So notice how only one of these spheres are lit up at a time. By the way, this is my intelligent follower. If you notice, the red dude is following around corners and over things, and pretty much you can't lose him. It's hard. You can, but it's almost impossible. So he follows you anywhere. But anyway, that's not the point. That's not why we're here. We're here because of the use of exclusive gates. Notice how only one sphere is lit up at a time. Only one. It happens to be the oldest one, but that doesn't matter. Only one is lit up at a time. That's using exclusive gates. So what I'm doing is, let me show you. Okay, here's your exclusive gate, and this is all you need to see. This is all you need to see. So, I have a timer that starts at 0 and goes to 20. That doesn't matter. I have a timer with its timer output being fed into the priority, okay? Being fed into the priority. So, the highest priority exclusive gate, or another way to look at it, is the oldest sphere is the one that's active. The highest priority is the one that's active. The highest priority is the one that's active. And when that active one gets destroyed, the next highest priority one is active. So this is just one way. And quickly, the reason I need to do this is because when the follower loses sight of me, he starts chasing the active node, and when he gets to the active node, it destroys itself. Then the next oldest node, because of exclusive gates, is the one that's active, and that's how he follows the little breadcrumb trail, basically. But so that's just one real-world example of exclusive gate use. Now for the final example. This is an RPG game I'm making, and there are items you can pick up. So, using exclusive gates, I am able to cycle through the items that are near me, so I can pick up specifically the one I want. So without exclusive gates, it would probably just highlight the closest one. But with exclusive gates, I'm able to cycle through the ones that are closest. So let me show you how I'm doing that. So this is the object that's on the ground. And we're going to go to pick up item. And this is where the exclusive gate is. So item hovered. This item hovered exclusive gate is in every one of these objects. But when the player is near it, so when hover item is on, when the player is near it, a signal goes in and it gets powered on. But remember, only one can be powered on at a time. When hovered item cycle is activated, it closes the gate. So a different gate is turned on. And if you didn't guess this, or I'm sure you did guess this, but it's in queue mode because I want to cycle through all of them. So here's another real world example of exclusive gates. So that's it with examples, and that's it with the tutorial, lesson, teaching, guide, whatever you want to call this. I really hope you guys have a better grasp of exclusive gates and maybe not be so afraid to use them because they're really powerful for specific things. They're very, very powerful. So guys, that's it for me. If you want to watch me build this RPG game, please feel free to check out my stream. I stream Dreams on Twitch. So there's a link in the description on that. And definitely subscribe if you want to keep learning about Dreams. I like to cover the more difficult aspects. So specifically doing like tutorials like tutorials like this on like a difficult aspect of Dreams, or teaching you how to implement one of the templates I've made. So, for example, one template that I've made, that I'm actively making, but by the time you're watching this, it's already been made, infinite runner template. So if you've ever wanted to make an infinite runner, I will have, by the time you're watching this, the video will be there. I will have a video teaching you how to use this remixable infinite runner template. Where's my intelligent follower? I think it's here. That's another template. And here we go, the intelligent follower template. So I should call this template, by the way. It's remixable. I have a video teaching you how to use it. I have a video teaching you how to use it. YouTube video tutorial is live. So if you're interested in using my templates, definitely subscribe. Finally, if you guys have any requests at all for certain templates I should make or tutorials I should make, let me know in the comments. Finally, one last thing. If you guys need help with anything, I really love helping you guys out. So there's 2 ways you can get help from me. 2 ways. Go to my Twitch stream while I'm streaming and ask. And I will help you out. I will mock up something on the spot, or I will help you out later. Second way is checking out my Discord. Join the Discord channel and just type a question, and I will respond. I will respond when I can with an answer. But guys, that is it. That is it for me. Stay tuned because there will be more videos in the future. But I really hope you learned something, and I will see you in the next video or stream.